Thank you so much for coming. Welcome. We are the Pentangle Arts Council, and welcome to our home, the historic Woodstock Town Hall Theatre. We've been here since the 80s, and we also have been around since the 70s. And we are grateful for you all to be here. This is our 50th anniversary, and we're very excited to have you here and see people who have been here and have been involved for 50 years. This doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It takes a community, and what you're going to see tonight is exactly what we're about. We're about bringing the community and the talents of the community onto our stage, as well as bringing people from all over the world to entertain us and to teach us in the schools. This was a brainchild of a group of women in the 70s, starting at Polly Billings' house, and it was part of the Vermont Arts Council as well. There's so much more history, and we're going to be getting into that over the evening. Please make sure your phones are off. Yes. And I welcome you. Thank you so much for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Hi. Smile, good evening. Welcome to the 50th anniversary of Pentangle Arts. What was the lie? Do you feel good? I bet you do. To speak of what to compare, I am your host for the evening, and I am truly honored. Welcome, bienvenue, welcome in cabaret, oh cabaret, to cabaret. I can't see you, so I'm hoping there's a lot of you out there. I really can't see you, but I'm really thrilled and honored and glad to be here tonight. I'm going to cry a lot tonight. You're going to have to deal with it. I came to this town 39 years ago, and going to New York 47 years ago, realizing I wasn't quite good enough to make it in the big time as a performer, but still wanting to perform. But I wanted to live in the country, and decided, okay, what can I do? I think never worked in a hotel or a restaurant, or try that sometime. And I went to New York, got lucky, and ended up buying the Keeper Valley in St. Louis for 17 years. But I picked this town and that in for this reason. It was an active community theater, which I could perform and hopefully lift a lot of human spirits and have a lot of fun with a whole bunch of the people that are here tonight. Many of them will become my closest friends in the world. So, now I have these cards I'm supposed to read. I am going to, because I'm not supposed to, but I do like the things I'm not supposed to, because I've earned it. Anyway, I'm going to, right off the bat, tell you that this would not have happened, not only without Pentangle and Lita and Deborah, but without memorable musical director, and his it was up 7 months. And Bob is literally one of my best friends in life, and I wouldn't have gotten to do a bunch of the shows here without his help. And of course, Tom Beck, who, as a matter of fact, directed the show. And in 2007, when I was starting to get a little bit older than I wanted to be, and I hadn't gotten to play the role I always wanted to play, he wasn't in the community anymore. He lived in Virginia or DC, and I called him up one day. I said, "Wouldn't you ever think about coming back to the community?" And he said, "You really want to play the music again, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he said one of the most flattering things anybody's ever said to me. He said, "Oh, I could take a 10-week leave of absence for a job and come direct it for you," which I couldn't believe, but he did. And we did that in 2008, and it really hurt a lot of people. That rejuvenated community theater here, and we've had a lot of fun since. And have a lot more fun in the future. And we wouldn't have been here without the support of this community and over all of these 50 years that we've had for it. We're going to have a lot of people here tonight that have been on this stage. Probably not as much as I have, but a lot of people on the stage, many with me, many not with me. And you might wonder why I started with Field Coleman, because I did that in a little theater 29 years ago, when I got to play another guy named Max as the Emcee in cabaret. But I did sing it here to open up the Goodbye Irene fundraiser concert in 2011 after that storm. And also in 2016, Pentangle Arts produced cabaret here, and Mike Backman, one of my great pals who was also in the show tonight, oh, here he is. Thanks for coming. Glad to see you. He played Herr Schultz in that production. Okay. And on with the show. And we've got some young people there too. Now, please welcome Pentangle's Executive Director, Deborah Green, with Pentangle's first Executive Director, David Nicholas.
It really is one of these moments of passing the baton, and it's this wouldn't happen without all the list of people on the back of the program. David. Hudson. Guess I'm sitting. So, my understanding is that there's a wonderful woman. Understand, I'm still very new to this. It's been about 3 or 4 months. And this show actually started with Alita and Bob. You're taking a drink. There's Bob. And Tom and Sharon. To get all these people together. So I'm really interested in the history because it's so important that we keep the history alive in whatever we do for the next 50 years. Hopefully I'll be here for all of the 50s. But it was Gene Caruso, correct, that said, no, this theater has to survive, and we need to bring it back up to a condition where we could do shows all the time. Isn't that correct?
I just have to mention that on this, the last concert we did here before the renovation was, and when she was back, we didn't even have the dressing rooms downstairs, and she was behind the curtain, and people were coming in to see the show, and every time somebody would sit down, the chairs would squeak. They were horrible, even worse than they are now. And she knew that we were about to tear the theater apart and renovate it, and she said, "Remember those squeaks, because you're not going to hear them again." And that was Odetta for you. And
When you first got the job, when you came on board, what was your first, what was the first moment that like touched your heart that you thought, I am absolutely in the right place?
we didn't have the theater yet, and the first show I had to do was at the high school, and it was a very expensive show, and we weren't selling tickets at all, and there was this terrifying moment that how are we going to pay for this? And then this French company shows up to do this. It was a sort of a puppet show, but larger than life. And we thought, how are we going to sell this out? And that's what got me originally to think about, it's the community that we need to get involved. And so we had a dinner, a French dinner, and people came because of the French dinner, maybe to begin with, but then it was, it built on itself. And so we had a full house, and I just knew it was right.
One of the greatest things for me right now is that we're building an anthology of voices, by the way, so that we're going to get interviews from everybody in town, hopefully, who's ever been involved with this. So it lives on, so people understand where it came from in years ahead. And being able to talk to all you guys, you're going to be able to see a couple of interviews as well in just a little bit. But we want to get back to the music. And so I want to ask two more things of you. One is, what is your greatest desire for Pentangle in the future? Like, give me some marching orders. And two, if there's anything left on your heart that you want to say that my question hasn't led you to, please say.
Well, first of all, I'm hoping it goes on for another 50 years at least, because this is a magic theater, and this is an exceptional community, and it's a fun place to work. It's a fun community because people get involved, and seeing the kids come out here and perform, that's the magic that is so special about this place in this town. So
we are incredibly grateful for you. I just hear wonderful things over and over about your tenure here. And so I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good team. Thank you.
David. During the transition from Chris Hayes to interim director Tricia Kent, him, Gillett, and Jill Larson performed Love Letters, directed by Jill's friend Reed Birney. It was one of the first fundraisers for Pentangle. They performed it twice, the first time in 1993. They each sat behind a Vasari's table with book holders custom made and signed by Charles Shackleton. The floor of the stage was covered with a large oriental carpet. Here are Ham, Gillett, and Kay Morton, who I hadn't met before tonight.
Good evening. This play is a series of, just as a little background, a series of letters written between two friends beginning in second grade and continuing throughout their lives. As you will see, their love endures and grows through thick and thin. We are going to be reading sections from different portions of their life. Andrew Makepeace Ladd III accepts with pleasure the kind invitation of Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert Channing Gardner for a birthday party in honor of their daughter Melissa on April 19th, 1937 at 3:30 o'clock.
Dear Andy, thank you for the birthday present. I have a lot of Oz books, but not The Lost Princess of Oz. What made you give me that one? Sincerely yours, Melissa.
I'm answering your letter about the book. When you came into second grade with that stuck-up nurse, you looked like a lost princess.
I don't believe what you wrote. I think my mother told your mother to get that book. I like the pictures more than the words. Now let's stop writing letters.
I will make my L's taller than my D's.
I will close up my A's and my O's.
I will try to make longer P's. Pass it on.
You're funny.
Will you be my Valentine?
Were you the one who sent me a Valentine saying, will you be my Valentine?
Yes, I sent it.
Then I will be. Unless I have to kiss you.
When it's warmer out, can I come over and swim in your pool?
No, you can't. I have a new nurse named Miss Hawthorne who thinks you'll give me infantile paralysis.
Will you help me go down and get milk and cookies during recess?
I will if you don't ask me to marry you again.
I will not write personal notes in class. I will not write personal notes in class. I will not. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Love, Andy Ladd.
I made this card myself. It's not Santa Claus. It's a kangaroo jumping over a glass of orange juice. Do you like it? I like you, Melissa.
My mother says I have to apologize in writing. I apologize for sneaking into the girls' bathhouse while you were changing into your bathing suit. Tell Miss Hawthorne I apologize to her too.
Here's a picture I drew of you and me without our bathing suits on. Guess which one is you? Don't show this to anyone. I love you.
Here is a picture of Miss Hawthorne without her bathing suit on.
You can't draw very well, can you?
Andrew M. Ladd III accepts with pleasure the kind invitation of Mrs. R. Ferguson Brown for a dinner in honor of her granddaughter, Melissa Gardner, before the Children's Charity Ball.
I'm really mad at you, Andy. Don't you know that when you're invited to a dinner before a dance, you're supposed to dance with the person giving it at least twice? I noticed you danced with Ginny Waters, but you never danced with me once.
I didn't dance with you because I've got a scratched groin. If you don't know what that means, look it up sometime. I was going to tell you in person, but I got embarrassed. I stretched it playing hockey last week. That's why I didn't dance with you. I'm using a heating pad now, and maybe we can dance next week at the junior assemblies.
I don't believe that hockey stuff. I think Ginny Waters stretched your groin. And next time you cut in, I'm going to stretch the other one.
Huh? You obviously don't know what a groin is.
Well, you obviously don't know what a joke is. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Guess what? I'm going to a psychiatrist now. My mother says it'll do me a world of good. Don't tell anyone, though. It's supposed to be a big secret.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I have a question. And would you please write the answer by mail? Because sometimes when you call, my mother listens on the telephone, and when she doesn't, my little brother does. Here's the question. Do you talk about sex with the psychiatrist?
I talk about sex all the time. It's terribly expensive, but I think it's worth it.
If I went to a psychiatrist, I'd talk about you. Seriously, I would. I think about you quite often.
Sometimes I think you just like me because I'm richer than you.
I liked seeing you Christmas vacation, particularly with your braces off. I really liked necking with you in the Watson's Rumpus room. Will you go steady with me?
I don't believe in going steady. It's against my religion.
Can we at least go to the movies together during spring vacation?
I don't know, Andy. I like seeing you, but I don't want to go home much anymore. My mother gets drunk a lot.
Will you be around this summer? I think I've got a summer job caddying, so no more camp, thank God.
I'll be visiting my father in California. I haven't seen him in 4 years. He has a new wife, and I have 2 half-sisters now. It's like going to find a whole new family. Oh, I hope.
Write me about California. How's your second family? Back at school now. Hope everything's okay with you. Did you get my letters out in California, or did you have a wicked stepmother who confiscated them?
I don't want to talk about California, ever. For a while, I thought I had 2 families, but now I know I really don't have any. You're very lucky, Andy. You don't know it, but you are. But maybe I'm lucky, too, in another way. Mrs. Wadsworth, who teaches us art, says I have a real talent both in drawing and in painting. She says some afternoon she's going to take me, just me by myself, to her studio in Hartford, and we'll do life drawings of her lover in just a jockstrap. Don't laugh. She says art and sex are sort of the same thing.
Dear Melissa, Sandy McCarthy told me all about the Campbell sports party. He said you let Bucky Zeller put a tennis ball between your cleavage. Sandy says you're turning into a hot box. You like having that reputation? I think your big problem is you're so rich you don't have enough to do. I'm sorry to say these things, but it made me slightly disgusted, frankly. I wrote you from New Hampshire. Did you receive it? Are you sore at me? I'll bet you're sore at me. To hell with you, then.
Ooh, big tough Andy using 4-letter words like hell.
Screw you.
Don't you wish you could?
Everyone else seems to be.
I haven't heard from you in 6 weeks, Andy. Are you trying to tell me something? Is this it, Andy? Congratulations on your landslide Senate victory. Love, Melissa.
Could we meet at your place next Sunday night?
Oh, thank God.
I meant that we have to talk, Melissa.
Uh-oh. Talk. I'm scared of talk. In fact, I dread it.
Dearest Melissa, are you all right? That was a heavy scene last Sunday, but I know I'm right. We've got to go one way or the other, and the other leads nowhere. I know I sound like a stuffy prick, but I do feel I have a responsibility to Jane and the boys, and now after the election to my constituency. It wouldn't work with us anyway, not in the long run, sweetheart. We're carrying too much baggage. We'd last about a week if we got married. But we can still write letters. I count on your letters, darling. I always have, and I hope you will count on mine. Are you there? Please, I need to hear from you. Senator and Mrs. Andrew M. Ladd III and family send you warm holiday greetings and every good wish for the new year.
Andy Ladd, is that you? Blow-dried and custom-tailored and jogging trim at 55. Hiding behind that lovely wife with her heels together and her hands folded discreetly over her snatch. And are those your sons and heirs? And, oh, help! Is that a grandchild nestled in someone's arms? God, Andy, you look like the Holy Family. Season's greetings and happy holidays and even Merry Christmas, Senator Ladd. We who are about to die salute you.
Just reread your last note. What's this we are who are about to die stuff? I want to see you again, if I may. Dear Mrs. Gardner, I seem to have lost touch with Melissa again. I wonder if you might send me her latest address. Dear Melissa, your mother wrote that you'd returned home. I'm flying up next Thursday to see you.
No, please, don't. Please stay away. I've let myself go. I'm fat, I'm ugly, my hair is horrible. I'm locked in at the funny farm all week, and then Mother gets me weekends if I'm good. They've put me on all sorts of new drugs, and half the time I don't make sense at all. My daughters won't even talk to me. They say I upset them too much. Oh, I've made a mess of things, Andy, a total ghastly mess. I don't like life anymore. I hate it. Sometimes I think that if you and I had just, if we had just, but to stay away, Andy, please.
Arriving Saturday morning, we'll meet you at your mother's.
No, don't. I don't want to see you. I won't be there. I'll be gone, Andy, I swear, I'll be gone.
Dear Mrs. Gardner, I think the first letter I ever wrote to you was accepting an invitation for Melissa's birthday party. Now I'm writing you again about her death. As you may know, Melissa and I managed to keep in touch with each other most of our lives, primarily through letters. Even now, as I write this letter to you, I feel I'm writing it also to her.
Oh, you're in your element now, Andy.
We had a complicated relationship, she and I, all our lives. We went in very different directions. But somehow, over those years, I think we managed to give something to each other. Melissa expressed all the dangerous and rebellious feelings I never dared admit to.
Now he tells me.
I don't think there are many men in this world who have had the benefit of such a friendship with such a woman. But it was more than a friendship. I loved her even from the day I met her, when she walked into second grade looking like the lost Princess of Oz.
Oh, Andy, please. I can't bear it.
I don't think I've ever loved anyone the way I loved her, and I know I never will again. She was at the heart of my life, and already I miss her desperately. I just wanted to say this to you and to her. Sincerely, Andy Ladd.
Thank you, Andy.
Our renovated Town Hall Theatre opened in the fall of '87 with a sold-out concert by Oscar Peterson. Many members of our community felt it truly became Woodstock's theater again after the new Wool House Players of the Woodstock Recreation Center performed Oklahoma in May 1988, of course directed by Tom Beck. I said that, he didn't. And then the New Well House Players returned in '93, which was the first time I'd learned enough about my job and had a good enough staff to actually be able to come and be part of it. And we did South Pacific. And at 42, I played a 24-year-old Lieutenant Cable. Try that one, too. The set was painted by Judy Jensen. I played Cable, and it was the first time I ever sang here. And we were not mic'd. But that renovation was 37 years ago, and it might be time to do it again.
Most people live on a lonely island, lost in the middle of a foggy sea. Most people long for another island, one where they know they would like to be. Bali High will call you any night, any day. In your heart, you'll hear it call you. Come away, come away. Bali High will whisper on the wind of the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me. Your own special hopes, your own special dreams. Bloom on the hillside and shine in the streams. If you try, you'll find me where the sky meets the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me. Your own special hope. One day you'll see me singing in the sunshine. My head sticking out from a low flying cloud. Come to me, here am I, come to me. If you try, you'll find me where the sky meets the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me. Bali High, Bali High, Bali
That's my little honey bun. Get a load of honey bun tonight. I'm speaking of my sweetie pie, only 60 inches high. Every inch is packed with dynamite. Her hair is blonde and curly. Her curls are hurly-burly. Her lips are pips. I call her hips. Twirly and twirly. She's my baby. I'm her pap. I'm her booby. She's my trap. I am caught and I don't want to run, 'cause I'm having so much fun with honey bun. 101 pounds of fun. That's my little honey bun. Get a load of honey bun tonight. I'm speaking of my sweetie pie, only 60 inches high. Every inch is packed with dynamite. Her hair is curly burly. Her curls are hurly burly. Her lips are pips. I call her hips twirly and whirly. She's my baby. I'm her pap. I'm her booby. She's my trap. I am caught and I don't want to run 'cause I'm having so much fun with Honey Bun. Believe me, Sonny, she's a cookie who can cook you till you're done. Ain't being funny. Sonny, put your money on my Honey Bun.
30
I
years,
remember you.
30 years ago, you said, "Don't worry, no problem. It'll wear right off." I'm still waiting.
That's very funny. Yeah, I didn't know that was
Pageant isn't what you'd call four-star entertainment. Mrs. Armstrong breaking her leg was the only unexpected thing that ever happened to it. It's always the same old Christmas story, and the same old carols, and the same old Mary and Joseph. And that's what my mother was stuck with. That. And Mrs. Armstrong.
Tell you again, Grace, how important it is to give everyone a chance. Here's what I do. I always start with Mary, and I tell them we must be careful in choosing our Mary because she was the mother of Jesus.
I know that, Helen.
Yes, and then I tell them about Joseph, how he was God's choice to be the father of Jesus. Now that's how I explain it. Frankly, I don't ever spend much time with Joseph because it's always Elmer Hopkins, and he knows all about Mary and Joseph.
I thought Mrs. Armstrong was in traction. How can she talk on the phone when she's in traction? What do you think traction is? Like when they put you to sleep?
No such luck. Beth, we need some salt and pepper. And napkins.
But I do explain about the wise men and the shepherds and how important they are. And I tell them there are no small parts, only small actors. And remind the angel choir not to stare at the audience. And don't let them wear earrings or things like that. And don't let them wear clunky shoes or high heels. And Grace, I hope you don't have too many baby angels. That will be your biggest problem.
You will leave some for the rest of us, Charlie.
I'm hungry. The old Herman stole my lunch again.
Well, how can you let him do that to you day after day?
How can I stop him? Where's the chicken?
Hey, Grace, where's the chicken?
Oh, it's still in the oven.
I'll get it.
Okay.
And you have to get someone to push the baby angels on stage. Otherwise, they'll get in each other's way and bend their wings. Bob could do that, and he could also keep an eye on the shepherds, too. Oh, and another thing about the angel choir. Don't let them wear lipstick. They'll think because it's a play.
Hey, I've got to go, Ellen. Hey, Helen, I really have to go. There's somebody at my door.
And they have to wear lipstick, and it looks terrible. So tell them, Grace.
Helen, I have to go. I'll talk to you later.
Anyway.
Yes, I don't care.
Hey, lady, could you give me some dinner? I haven't had a square meal in 3 days.
It's you.
Oh, I was getting lonely at the table.
Well, I think Helen's getting lonely at the hospital.
Not as long as the telephones are working.
I'll bet you only small actors. And getting someone to shove the baby angels on to make the shepherd just shut up.
Yes, actually, she suggested your father.
Does that mean I have to go?
And Grace, don't use just anybody's baby for Jesus. Get a quiet one. Better yet, get two if you can. Then if one turns out to be fussy, you can always switch them.
So I stopped here in Woodstock when my son Andrew was 6 months old, and I went to a brown bag performance that was on the steps of the Norman Williams Public Library. And I sat there for that hour of music, and I thought, this is really cool, and I could live here. Little did I know that years later I would end up running the brown bag performances for 10 years, and it was a big part of my life. And the first performance that I saw in the theater, well before I knew I would be involved in it, was South Pacific, which was a huge community Broadway production. Yeah, and I saw people that I had just recently met since I'd recently moved to town and went to church with. I saw them on the stage, and I saw the community gather, and I saw this as a home, a real home, a heart home for me, and a center of what I considered to be important in Woodstock. And then when I took the position, I had been as a caterer and a restaurant owner and an event planner. I saw the position as an event planner. I thought I would be putting on events. About 6 months into it, I think, with the help of my dear board, who I had amazing boards, the light bulb went on that I was a fundraiser, and that I was a programmer, and that I was a community builder, and that my job was to support the school systems with their arts programming, to bring children here, to experience the arts, to go out into the community and bring arts, to make available to our local rural and town of Woodstock folk touring artists, some who are on the national stage, and many, many talented people who weren't nationally known. And so it was a really great road that I went through to do the work that I did. I think the thing that comes to me most often, because it did happen over and over and over again, and yet it never ceased to amaze me and touch my heart. When I would stand out on the sidewalk and greet the kindergartner through sixth grade groups who would come into the theater, and their energy was a little bit wild and scattered and not necessarily happy. And when they left the theater, I saw a transformation. And had it just happened once, that would have been one thing. But the transformation was to kind of this sense of peace in their bodies and absolute joy. One of the other things that I absolutely loved and has such a strong memory for me was taking groups like the Army Navy bands in to work with the middle school and high school bands, or to bring a group like Hyannis Sound. Townsend Lyle is a local, but he had this singing group made up of all these collegiate singers, and they would perform, but they also did these workshops in the schools. And to see the kids, the young people, understand that they had a real voice, and that people who they'd just seen on the stage were listening to them was empowering. It was really, really important. As I sit here today, and I am grateful for my opportunities to experience and to lead, I am wishing Pentangle Arts Council an amazing next 50 years of great success.
I don't know what it is. I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do. This guy says the horse can do. If he says the horse can do.
I think a Valentine on the morning line. A guy has got him figured at 5 to 9.
If it says the horse can do.
This here's that telegraph.
It says
I hear the fight's all right, of course it all did, and if it rained last night, I smiled last
morning flying
this thread like
Joe's
horse
brother
flies
friend of mine.
Against the big noise, as long as the grandfather was a boys.
I tell you, Paul, and if there's no bumps, dear, it's from a handy and that's real sincere.
The morning line, the guy has got him figured at 5 to 9.
You win the bounce. This here's that telegraph.
I got the horse right. Hey. Feel nice. Good. Kiss him no.
It says here in this book, the average unmarried female, basically insecure, due to some long frustration, may react with psychosomatic symptoms, difficult to endure, affecting the upper respiratory tract. In other words, just from waiting around for that plain little band of gold, a person can develop a cold. You can spray her wherever you figure the streptococci like. You can give her a shot for whatever she's got, but it just won't work. If she's tired of getting that fish eye from the hotel clerk, a person can develop a cold. It says here, the female remaining single, just in the legal sense, shows a neurotic tendency. See note. Chronic organic syndromes, toxic or hypertense, involving the eye, the ears, the nose, and throat. In other words, just from worrying whether the wedding is on or off, a person can develop a cough. You can feed her all day with the vitamin A and the bromo fizz, but the medicine never gets anywhere near where the trouble is. If she's getting a kind of a name for herself and the name ain't his, a person can develop a cough. And furthermore, just from stalling the wedding trip, a person can develop la grippe. When they get on the train for Niagara and she can hear church bells chime, the compartment is air conditioned and the mood sublime. Then they get off at Saratoga for the 14th time. A person can develop la grippe, la post-nasal drip. And the sinus is really a pip. From a lack of community property and a feeling she's getting too old. A person can develop a bad cold.
Well, you never did tell me what kind of a guy you do want.
He will not be a gambler.
I didn't ask what he won't be. I want to know what he will be.
Don't worry, I'll know. For I've imagined every bit of him, from his strong moral fiber to the wisdom in his head, to the homey aroma of his pipe.
You have wished yourself a Scarsdale Galahad, the breakfast-eating Brooks Brothers type.
Yes, and I shall meet him when the time is right.
You've got this guy all figured out.
I have.
Including what he smokes, all figured out?
All figured out. When my love comes along, I won't take a chance. I know he'll be just what I need, not some fly-by-night Broadway romance.
And you'll know at a glance by his uptight military stance.
As I run to his arms, his calm, steady voice. Oh no, when I run to his arms, that at last I am home safe and sound. Until then, I shall wait. Until then, I'll be strong. Yes, I'll know when my love comes along.
Oh, no. You're talking about love. You picking a guy or a horse?
I would not expect a gambler to understand.
Well, you want to know what a gambler feels about the big heartthrob?
No.
Well, I'll tell you. Mine will come as a surprise to me. Mine I'll leave to chance and chemistry.
Chemistry?
Oh, yeah. Suddenly, I'll know when my love comes along. I'll know then and there. I'll know at the sight of her face how I care, how I care, how I care. And I'll stop and I'll stare and I'll know long before we can speak. I'll know in my heart. I'll know. And I won't even ask, am I right? Am I wise? Am I smart? And I'll stop and I'll stare at that face in the throng. Yes, I'll know when my love comes along. Well, I'll be back. And like your good book says, give you a crack at the other cheek.
When my love comes along, I won't take a chance. I'll know by his calm, steady voice, not some fly-by-night Broadway romance. Until then, I shall wait. Until then, I'll be strong. Yes,
What surprised me was the degree of community involvement. I think that surprised me the most. We had an extremely robust volunteer base and extremely invested constituency of members. People who were loyal, who would come to the movies, who'd come to live performances, who volunteered, you know, who wouldn't hesitate to step up to volunteer, to usher, or to become involved with a larger event like, say, what used to be the Woodstock Summer Festival and Crafts Fair out at the high school, or the Summer at 6 concert series, which, you know, required a lot of volunteer support, or something like Bookstock, which I thankfully had a hand in as well. But just the sheer number of volunteers. Oh, and the Wassel Weekend Holiday House Tour, huge community effort. And it was incredible to me how people came together without hesitating, stepped right up and filled a role, eagerly filled a role. Yeah, so the arts education program was vital to Pentangle's mission and very important to me personally. That was probably the most joyful aspect of my job, was being able to see you know, a theater full of kids engaged. Not only engaged, but just kind of wide-eyed and agape with astonishment and wonder at whatever the artist was there. Surprised me. What touched my heart? I think it was just the human interactions, the human connections. Yeah, I mean, and when artists went into schools and did programs as well, that was pretty special. It was just a real, it seemed like a real natural symbiosis that was going on, thanks to, you know, people like Marv, who cared very deeply about the program, and that it really says something, I think, about Pentangle, that they had a dedicated arts education coordinator. It wasn't just merely part of, you know, the executive director's job, or it wasn't a volunteer position or something like that. They paid someone, they cared about it enough, cared about getting arts into the schools enough that they hired somebody especially to do that. Another 50 years would be nice. I would love to see a community engagement to the extent that I think Pentangle serves the community that is changing. I mean, it has changed significantly since COVID, just in terms of the population and the demographic. It's a very dynamic community at the moment. My question is, how can Pentangle best serve this changing community? So I think as long as it keeps up with the tastes and the desires of that community, it's going to be around for a long time. I wouldn't mind seeing the theater get an upgrade in the not so distant future, and I know it's piecemeal and it comes here and there. I remember when I was here, the sound system was a big priority, so we got a new sound system. That's a beautiful thing. And then there's been the movies have upgraded as well, but you know, eventually the place will probably need a major overhaul, and I hope I know the community will step up and get behind that and support it. And yeah.
Well, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you don't want to acknowledge, or you are unaware of the caliber of a disaster indicated by the presence of a pool table in your community. Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player. Certainly mighty proud to say I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider the hours I spend with the cue in my hand are golden. Help yourself with a horse sense and a cool head and a keen eye. Did you ever take and try to give yourself an ironclad lead from a 3-rail billiard shot? But just as I tell you, it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a ball line game, I say that any boob can take and shove a ball in a pocket. And I call that sloth the first big step on the road to the depths of degradation. I say first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle. And the next thing you know, your son is playing for money in a pinchback suit. And listening to some big out-of-town Jasper, hearing him talk about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trotting race, no, but a race where they set down right on the horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy sitting on Dan Patch, make your blood boil, well, I should say. Now, friends, let me tell you what I mean. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets in the table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital P, rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. And all week long, your River City youth will be frittering away. I say your young men will be frittering away. Their noontime, supper time, chore time too. Get the ball in the pocket. Never mind get the dandelions pulled or the screen door patched or the beefsteak pounded. Never mind pumping any water so your parents are stuck with the cistern empty on a Saturday night, and that's trouble. Yes, you got lots and lots of trouble. I'm talking about the kids in the knickerbockers. Sure tell young ones. Peeking in the pool hole window after school, you got trouble. Folks, right here in River City. Trouble with the capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for food. And I know all you guys are the right kind of parents. I'm going to be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while they're loafing around that hole? They'll be trying out Bevos, trying out Cubebs, trying out tailor-mades like cigarette fiends, and bragging all about how they're going to cover up a telltale breath with censor. One fine night, they leave the pool head, heading for the head dance at the Armory. Libertine men and scarlet women and ragtime, shameless music that'll drag your son, your daughters into the arms of jungle animal instinct and hysteria. Friends, the idle range is the devil's playground trouble. Right here in River City. Capital T in their lines with P and that stands for you got trouble. River City. Let's figure out a way to keep the young ones moral after school. Mothers of River City, heed that warning before it's too late. Watch for the telltale signs of corruption. The minute your son leaves the house, does he rebuckle his knickerbockers below the knee? Is there a nicotine stain on his index finger? A giant novel hidden in a corn crib? Is he starting to memorize jokes from Captain Billy's whiz? A certain word creeping into his conversation. Words like and so's your old man. Well, listen, my friends. In River City. T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool. River City. Remember the main, Plymouth Rock, and the we got terrible, terrible trouble. That game in the 15 number ball is a devil's tool. We got trouble. Hand me the hat. Miss Marion, you're late.
You said 15 minutes.
I didn't mean that kind of late.
Well,
You're 26 years late from meeting a fella on the footbridge.
Well, if you must know the truth, it was almost longer.
Oh?
About halfway here, I nearly turned back. I guess I'm not the first person to discover A girl can get kind of wishy-washy when under the influence of your salesmanship.
Now, Miss Marion, you don't think that I was trying to sell you something?
Oh, no, you gave me something. That's why I had to come.
I don't remember giving you.
Yes, something beautiful.
Oh?
There were bells on the hills, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all, till there was you. There were birds in the sky, but I never saw them ringing. No, I never saw them at all, till there was you. And there was music, and there were wonderful roses. They tell me in sweet, fragrant meadows of dawn and dew. There was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all, till there was you.
There was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all, till there was you.